Last thing I want to cover is bean scopes, which is basically the visibility and lifecycle of the bean throughout the application lifecycle. And we have a couple of scopes. We've got singleton, which is a single object, instance per Spring, inversion control container. We also have prototype, which is a definition to any number of object instances. So instead of reusing the exact same instance again and again and again as singleton, we get a fresh new instance every single time. We have request, which is bound to a single HTTP request. Same with session, so life cycle of a HTTP session, and global session, which basically it's bound to a life cycle of a global HTTP session. As I said, we're not going to cover these other scopes: prototype, request, session, global session. And I just want you to know that by default, it's a single object per instance, meaning that when I create foo, it goes into the application context. And if another class, let's say that this class right here wants to use foo, we could just use foo. If we have yet another class that wants to use foo, it just reuses the same instance instead of creating a new foo instance. Now, for large applications, if you have thousands and thousands of classes, this is very efficient, right? Because you're just reusing the exact same object instead of creating unnecessary objects. And finally, if you want to change the scope of your bean, you can do it as follow. You can say add and then scope, and inside we can pass the value configurable bean fact dot and then scope singleton or prototype. So as I said, singleton is a default. If you want a request scope, you can say add request and then scope, and within it you can pass the proxy mode, which we're not going to touch, as I said. So I'm going to comment this out so you have it for reference. And if you have any questions on this, please let me know. Otherwise, catch me on the next section.